The original post said, "This is terrible and I'm furious right now. I'm also really sad. It's killing me that I have to do what I know I have to do. It hurts a lot and is new. Last night my wife didn't come home. She went out with some friends, which is pretty normal for her. She always comes back around 2 a.m. on these nights, so I stayed up late. I called around 2:30 to make sure everything was okay. I could hear other people in the background when she answered. She told me that they were leaving soon after going to a party. I texted her because she wasn't home by 3 dong. It was sent, but there was no reply. I called again around 4:00 a.m. It rang a few times before she put me through to voicemail. The door finally opened for my wife at 6:47 this morning. I was afraid to say the exact time, but I do. She didn't leave the house in that dress, and I've never seen her wear mesh tights. It was clear that the pants were torn, and her makeup was all over the place. When I saw her, my heart broke. My first fear was that she had been beaten up. When I asked her that, she just shook her head no. She told me what she had been doing when I asked her. That kind of proved what my inner voice had been telling me since she walked in. My wife cheated on me last night. I asked her who it was, and she said it was someone they met at the club with a shrook. She went back to his house, slept with him, and then took an Uber home. Then she said she didn't want to fight and were just tired, so she went to sleep. She fell asleep right away and didn't even shower before she fell asleep. Let's just say that our relationship is over. The process shouldn't be too hard for us because we don't have any kids and rent. I keep telling myself that there might be something good in this that will make me stop. I've always said that cheating is not okay with me, though, and I think I should stick to that. Now for the most important advice before you read the update. If stealing is what breaks the deal for you, and it's a good reason to do so, the deal is over. She'll tell you she was drunk, loves you, etc. when she wakes up. She broke your heart's trust and your vows, though. Don't change your mind. Leave the woman who doesn't admire you enough to be loyal. Thanks a lot. It really does help to hear it from someone else. To be honest, I'm not sure if I want to listen to her right now. I'm not going to believe anything she says anyway. Also, from the way you two talk to each other, it doesn't sound like she cared at all whether she was drunk or not. She didn't even try to hide the fact that she cheated. Because this just happened, you keep trying to tell yourself not to do it. There will still be a sense of betrayal after the shock wears off. Don't let yourself be nice to her now. Also, just to be sure, I think you should get an STD test. This could not be the first time she's done something like this. I don't think she's done this more than once. If she had, she probably would have told me right away when she got home. She's always been the kind of person who can't hold things in. That being said, I will be tried. It shouldn't hurt, but I'm afraid of needles. You also didn't think she'd do it the first time. Being safe is better than being sorry. You would think she has done it before if she has only done it once, especially given her attitude. Oh man, it sounds like she wanted you to catch her. It's not the first time this has happened. I've also thought about that. The fact that she came home in clothes I've never seen her in doesn't match how casual she was about it. Now for the first update. Okay, things have happened. I left my house and am no longer there. I had to work today though, so I'm writing this on my lunch break. Now it's been hard for me to stay together today. I've really had to sneak into the bathroom twice to cry. Things are rough. That's way too much for one post, so I'll add more information later. I'm really tired. I think I've only slept for 4 hours since everything started. It's likely to be a bit longer than the first one in terms of writing. Also, to the woman who sent me a picture of herself without a top, thanks but no thanks. That kind of thing isn't in my heart right now. Get your soon-to-be ex out of the house, please. Don't let her feel good about being the only owner of the house you bought together after she hurt you. It sounds like she wants you to get a divorce, but only if you agree to her terms. She lied to you on purpose about when she would get home. She probably wanted you to stay up late and be upset, so that she could admit to cheating on you in the meanest way possible, making you even angrier so that you would hurt her while you were mad. So she has proof to use against you in court. The fact that she was drunk didn't change how smart she was. That person who made the post says they rent the space. I'm glad the process is now easier for them. This is something I went through with my first wife. I threw her stuff out in the front yard. The judge gave me the divorce in 5 minutes because she didn't show up for the divorce. Keep going, dude. Things will get better. Second news. It's me again, guys. I'm sorry I didn't do this sooner. I couldn't take yesterday off because my boss is pretty bad. Unfortunately, I was a mess at work yesterday, so I was able to take the rest of the week off. Thank goodness my soon-to-be ex was sleeping while I went through all of the steps of grief. I had no idea that my post would get any attention. I thought it would be good for my mental health to try to talk to someone about it. The post was made in the morning, and she was still asleep in her bedroom by noon. After giving things some more thought, I had a rough plan in my head that I was beginning to put into action. I sat down with all of my important papers, laptop, and made a short list of things I wanted to ask. After that, I went to my room and began to pack my bag. Several people asked me to kick her out, and I did think about it. But to be honest, I'm not really attached to this place. We only rent, and I'm lucky enough that I don't have to worry about losing my job to pay half the rent for a few months. I'll be honest. It will hurt a bit, but I'll get through it. And I think this place will always make me think of her. Moving forward is what I need to do. She finally woke up while I was still packing my bag. She looked around the room for a moment and got lost, but then she just started crying. It may have been rude of me, but I didn't try to make her feel better. As long as she agreed, I told her that the photos of her Uber and the texts from her phone were proof. We were done with everything between us. But she didn't answer, she just cried more. I thought about trying to carry on the talk, but in the end I chose to pack up the rest of my bags and go back to the living room until she came out. She finally came out of the bedroom and sat down next to me on the couch. She asked if we could talk things over. Being as relaxed as possible, I told her that wasn't going to work. To get honest replies, I was going to ask questions. I went ahead because she told me she would be honest. I couldn't keep my voice together the whole time. It took everything I had to keep going. Was this the first time she lied around? Before she replied, she started to cry, and then she said no. During the time we were together, she cheated on me more than once. It was, and I'm going to use her exact words, plain sex. A way for me to unwind. It never meant anything. A reply I made soon after my post said that all the love couldn't go away all at once. Yes, it can. The thought of not being with my wife hit me right away. The person I was married to wasn't even in the room. It was a different person. She wouldn't tell me exactly how many times she had cheated, only that it was more than last night. Had she used defense? She didn't think twice before giving a firm nod of the head. She looked shocked that I would ask that. Still, I'm going to get checked out just to be safe. I learned more about time, and I will take care of it. Did her friends cheat on their partners too? Both yes and no. In order to get in touch with their wives, I asked her to tell me which of her friends were cheating. It's likely that she should have, because when she didn't, I messaged the boyfriend of almost every one of her pals on social media. I didn't know or couldn't find a few, but I did what I could. What made her do it? The answer that hurt me the most was this one. I'm going to repeat what she said. I need a range of things. I told her that our private life isn't boring. She said, it's not the same as something new. That one I didn't even know how to answer. I thought it might have something to do with working too much or not being there for her mentally. Yes, she hit on other guys just for fun and because she felt like it. She asked me about therapy and guidance when I didn't answer. I said it again. Our relationship was over. I was going to leave. I didn't like what she did next. My ex-boyfriend tried to get close to me. I felt her hands on me and she began to take my clothes off. I pushed her away because I felt like throwing up. She told me over and over that she would fix it and that we would work through it together after a few seconds. She began to cry again when I told her there was no way. She locked herself in the bathroom. I was fed up with everything at that point, so I called her mom and told her what was going on. Also, the whole story. The lying, the questions I had, and the truth that I was leaving. It's always been easy to get along with my ex's parents. They both chose to drive to town, which takes them about an hour. I just took my things and left when I knew someone was coming. Her bathroom leaks were bothering me because they didn't make sense to me after hearing the answers to my questions. In the end, I packed an extra bag before I left and put in it everything I could think of that had a special meaning to me. I found a parking lot and waited in my car until I could call a friend and ask for a place to sleep. It was too hard for me to sleep because I was so excited. I knew her parents were there because she called me when they got there. She sent me texts when I didn't answer them. She went from being sad and crying to being very angry. It looks like I'm a crazy jerk for telling her mom everything. Oh no, Sorry, I'm not sorry. I've gotten about 100 texts from her since she left. They say mean things about me, beg me to come back, and send me pictures of the food she ate for some reason. I haven't replied to any of them yet. I think I said what I wanted to say before I left, so that's where I am now. That part was easy because we didn't share money. To be safe, I canceled all the services that charged my credit card and changed all of my important passwords. I'm going to sleep on a friend's couch for a while, but I'm also looking into short-term rentals until I can find a longer-term place to live. A divorce lawyer is also on my list of people to talk to. A friend of mine told me about something better, so I'll probably follow his advice and buy it. That's not all. I was also amazed at how helpful everyone was. Thank you for that. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. It's hard for me to talk about my feelings with people I care about. This was a great place for me to vent. Thanks a lot to everyone. Thank goodness you were strong enough to leave that place and not put up with more of your ex's nonsense. What a big change from how cruel and cold she was to you when she first got home. It's funny that she started crying now. If you're reading this, good luck with your future. I have no idea if she was crying because I was going, or just because she was caught, and the little world she had made for herself was falling apart. I wish she cared that I was going, but the way she reacted to the whole thing makes me wonder. A lot of people think it's weird, but I want to be angry for a little while longer. It made sense for the kid to cry, like when they get their hand caught in the cookie jar. What she said and did, along with why she did it, made me think she didn't care. She only cared about being caught, which would change how she lives. In all honesty, her crying sounds like she was just trying to get her ex to feel sorry for her and get back together with him. That doesn't sound like it will work, does it? She also has delusions. Everything that was said never meant anything. That line that cheats you so often shows how selfish they are. I saw a lot of cheaters online using the same reason. I don't know. It might be true. They might not be thinking about their spouse at this time. Still doesn't change the choices they keep making that lead them astray. But maybe it's not a complete lie. They don't say it in words, but with deeds, that it doesn't mean anything to you either. She's crazy, and it's sad that she planned to call you a piece of trash even though she knew she was lying and betraying you. She's crazy to think she can make it better. OP, don't look back. You did a good job with this, and I hope this isn't too rough of a part of your life in the end. Change 3, the last story is now up. My 35-year-old wife and I recommended that we find a white sperm donor. The two of us are Chinese. I worry that she was never interested in me. My wife and I have been married for 4 years, and we've been trying to have a child for 3.5 years. It's been hard for both of us. Our dogs have been sick, and we both have very busy jobs. Also, both of us have to drive an hour to work, which makes things even more stressful between us. The fact that we still haven't been able to get pregnant has been making us very angry. 2 IVF doctors have seen us, and neither of them has told us that we can't have children. We are now keeping a close eye on my wife's cycles. I did some exercise, ate better, and spent time in the sun. We even planned our trips to Florida to happen when my wife is ovulating. We haven't tried IVF yet because it's very pricey and would use up all of our backup fund. Also, it usually takes more than one try. She asked me how I would feel about a sperm donor after my wife and I talked about this. She asked me if I would be willing to adopt or use a sperm donor if it came down to it. I told her I really wanted to be the father of my children. She then goes on and on about how great it is to choose a sperm donor because it's one way to get the exact genes you want for your child. I thought it was funny, so I said, yeah, that's cool. Then she asked me how I would feel about picking a white sperm provider. It was something like I would be against it, and she asked me why. She told me, that's a really patriarchal and racist idea. I told her, hey, I want my kids to look like me. She then began to list all the good things that would happen. Our kids would be taller, they would fit better into American society, she says. Then she goes on and on about how adorable mixed-race babies are. Since it's clear that this is making me feel bad, she kind of changes the subject. I'll be honest, if we went to a sperm bank and all they had were white sperm, I wouldn't mind. But hearing this from my wife makes me worry. First, we haven't even tried IVF yet, and neither of us can't have children. We would also have to pay for IVF if we chose a sperm source. And the fact that I think almost all of the guys she dated before me were white makes me feel really, really bad. Some of my friends told me, dude, she's only with you because she's over 30 and wants to settle down. I waved them off. The fact that we are already having these talks, though, makes me feel really bad. Really, I'm not sure if I'm even her type. I don't know what to say to her. Like, if we have an Asian child, will she say, "Oh, I wish he was mixed race"? I'm really scared. Helpful tips. Well, I have to say that the worry and workload have hurt our relationship, and I'm not sure if I should see it that way. Is treatment for couples a good choice for us? Answers to advice. It sounds like your wife has a deep-seated problem with her race, even if she likes you. You might want to think about this more before you decide to go ahead with IVF. Or maybe she's seeing a white guy and wants him to be okay with her having a white child. There's a chance that she's using some kind of birth control or Plan B behind his back. I mean, if neither of them can have children and all of a sudden she's really excited about a sperm source, something is wrong. It looks like she was just waiting for this chance to pick out the look of her baby. Ask her how she would feel if a white woman gave you her eggs. Maybe it's time to put the kids' talk on hold and get some therapy instead. That would be a good place to start because these talks are bringing up some heavy issues. I wouldn't even call her white because it's clear she thinks being white is better. I'd say someone of a different race like Asian or non-white. See how quickly she changes her mind. She asked for a white donor and not a donor of any other race for a reason,